Well, hey, super excited to be here today and super excited for our topic. My name's Ed Stroud and I'm going to be one of your hosts today. I know Jen McBratney is going to help us host as well because she's got a lot of knowledge and in this area as well. But we're going to be talking about micro teams and what is a micro team, what is the reason to start a micro team, what's the advantages for the person who is the show partner on the micro team, and what's the advantages for the team lead at that point. So first off, what I'm going to say is why even have micro teams? I mean, what's the purpose of a micro team? A lot of people start in real estate and what they want to create is a team. And what we have found over time is most people are not prepared or ready to really lead an entire team. And so I think this is a great alternative to that, to be able to start small and to leverage yourself early on and to create a micro team. Uh, Jen, what do you know about, I mean, why do you think the people in your world and even yourself now, why start a micro team? What is the advantage to, number one, have you been on both sides? You've definitely been a show
hmm
partner, and now
hmm
you have a show partner, right?
I did. I currently don't, but I did.
Okay,
Yes.
that's all right.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so what's the advantage? You've been on both sides, where I've only been on one side of this, right? I'm curious
Right.
what your perspective is of what's good for the show partner, what's good for the now as the lead agent, if you will, or
Right.
team lead.
Yeah. So I think for a lot of people that are maybe listening to this recording, it will likely be you're looking at it as the lead agent, right? Should you get a partner? Should you get a micro team or build one? So we'll start there. And I think the biggest thing is leverage. It's when you start to have enough business that you feel a little bit like a chicken with your head cut off to maintain that level of business and income and all the things. And not only do you want to alleviate some of that, but you want to maybe grow still, right? So at that point, you need leverage. This is where you are still like the person behind the scenes holding all the strings and everything like that. You're maintaining the relationships with your clients, so you're still the one driving your business, but you have a partner to take care of a lot of the legwork, the boots on the ground, the things that are time consuming that is not really worth your pay level anymore at this point, right? You have to remember where your dollar per hour rate is and make sure that you're devoting your time to those activities that's going to produce more income for you at that level. Whereas the leverage is there to help facilitate those things, but it's also time consuming where you could be putting your time toward more dollar producing activities. So leverage is the biggest thing on the lead agent side of things. As a partner, the reason one would want to be a partner is because you are essentially in a very intense paid internship. It's very much like an internship. It's a learning position. It's like you're going to the University of Real Estate, where you're partnering with somebody who knows a lot more than you, who has done a lot more business than you, who tucks you under their wing and teaches you everything that you need to know. So when the time comes for you to become your own agent, team agent, and you're taking on your own clients solo, you are slingshotted in such a way that you can start doing a great deal of business with all that knowledge behind you versus kind of floundering, not only trying to find clients, but service them and all of those things. You've already kind of cut your teeth. And so you can truly begin to start your career in the best possible way. So for me and my experience, I came onto our team as a team agent, newly licensed. I spent about 3 months going through the training and acquiring information. At that time on our team as a team agent, you had access to our vast database of leads, old leads, to try and find people to set appointments with. And before you could go and take those clients on your own and set an appointment for yourself, you had to show you can set quality appointments for others, sort of like an ISA kind of trial period to cut your teeth. And I successfully was setting appointments for this. And so I was about to kind of graduate into that next phase. But this is when my team leaders, Mike and Rachel, were going to start the partner model themselves. So I actually joined up with Rachel, and I was her listing partner for roughly 3 years. The end was a little bit on and off again as we were figuring out a few things. And so then when I started taking on my own buyer and seller clients, my first full 12 months, I had 27 transactions, which is kind of a lot for a new agent. If I had gone on to try and do that from the very beginning, there's absolutely no way I would have done that much business or had that much expertise at that point. So on the partner side of things, it's a phenomenal pathway to get into real estate and feel completely solid that you can do this and build your business.
I agree with that. That's back to the internship. I like how you said that internship. It's a paid internship.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I think I like about that part more than anything is number one, yes, they do get to go under an agent that has a lot of knowledge. It'll be the best training that an
Mm-hmm.
agent will get probably in this industry. But number
Yes.
two, it opens doors for people that could never or would never jump into real estate because real
Mm-hmm.
estate's a full commission job. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
getting a paid internship, if you will. I like how you said that, where you're getting a base salary plus some type of commission on top. It's
Yep.
not as much if you were just a solo agent, right?
No.
But the idea is it's a protection to say, while you're learning and while you're becoming the expert, we're going to pay you throughout and we're going to give you a piece of the action so you can still make a decent amount of money, but you get to actually learn from the best. It's a safe environment at that point, so you're not just uh, rolling it all and trying to make it go, and like most agents do. I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know what the percentage is anymore, but solo agents coming in the industry, it was like 3 years, 85% or something. 2 to 3 years, they get out. 85% get out.
Yeah. I
That's
think
not what you
also,
see in the showing partner side, though.
no, no. There's a huge retention of people that pass through this kind of program. Um, and I think what's really interesting is the tenacity you need as an agent to do what it takes is something that's baked into a partner program like this. So it's a paid internship. You do have that safety net of a small salary as a W-2, and then you make some sort of commission thereafter once you've earned that leverage and that you're earning that piece of the commission. But we also talk to our partners on our team that's saying, hey, the first half of this, we're going to be pouring into you immensely. Like this is where we're putting in the work, we're pouring into you, we're making sure you get the basics hammered in so that you have a mastery level. And then the last part of this, the last half of it, is where you're going to be pouring into our combined partnership. This is where you're going to be taking on more responsibilities over time. You're going to be busting your butt, and it's going to likely feel like you're running at capacity, or you feel like maybe your salary now feels kind of small. And that's the reality of things, because when you become an agent, this is the trade-off that you're going to experience, right? So it's kind of like a mindset coaching as well, not just on actual experience and actual contracts and how to handle conversations with clients and agents in real life, but also the mindset of things. How do you coach your own mind to become an entrepreneurial real estate agent? That is a curve that you get a lot as a partner. And then on the
No
other
doubt.
side of things, when you are the agent, the lead agent, you do have to invest that time with that person, because they're going to turn around. You'll get that reimbursed to you in spades. And then at the end, because it's usually like a finite amount of time, on our team, it's 2 to 3 years. At the end, you now have a producing agent that can join the team. It's a benefit to the team in its entirety, because now we have an agent who not isn't just fogging the glass. They're a producing agent at this point, which is incredible.
Yeah, let's talk about that because uh, I think there's a few different ways to look at the show partner program and what they could do, and we've got different ones throughout. So we've got people that come into the show partner program and they say, we want to graduate, just exactly what Jen was talking about. We want to graduate at some point down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we want to start our own micro team or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? And so they go through at least, I think on our team, it's at least 2 years. We
Mm-hmm.
prefer three. but they have
Mhm.
to be on the micro team for 2 years and have certain qualifying levels they hit before we say, yes, now you can go if you want.
Like
Uh,
benchmarks.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the benchmarks, yeah. And so that would be a graduate, is what we would call that. Then we've
Mhm.
got people that they just want to be showing partners and they don't ever want to leave.
Lifers.
That's the
Yeah,
lifer. That's
lifers.
exactly
Yes.
right. Because quite honestly, what drives an agent is how much business they can produce on their own. And some of these
Mhm.
agents can't produce a lot of business, but I'm safe if I can't produce a lot of business, but Jen hires me as her showing partner, and I still like doing that part of the business. I can produce a little bit of business for Jen's team, but I feel a lot more, a lot safer because I know Jen's a high producer. She's closing 50 deals, 70 deals a year, and I'm always going to have a job. I'm always going to be in this business.
Mhm.
But for me to go create 20, 30 deals a year is going to be super tough. Maybe you're new to the area, you don't have a COI, maybe you're not aggressive on lead gen and actually doing that very hard, which they still need to be. So that's where the lifer comes in, I think, a little bit as they get in
Yeah.
comfortable and they get in there and they're good. Then you've
I think there's
got,
certain personality types that go well in that
I agree.
framework versus somebody who wants to graduate and become their own agent, right? Like
I agree.
you can talk about disc profiles or any kind of like personality
Right.
measurement or whatever, but certain people just they're not hunters, but they are operators. And so those are the
Well,
ones that sit in that lifer position
yeah.
very happily, and it makes a really good partnership long term.
And high S's typically they
Yes.
have some type of S in them because they fear
Yes,
change, right?
for sure.
They like showing up and knowing exactly what they're going to do every day.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got the empire builder piece, and that's actually personally what I've got as an empire builder. He's been with us for 5, 6 years. He runs the team now. He's even at that level where he's just running it, and I don't get involved as much because he is the team lead in a lot of ways. It's my micro team still. So, but we have a lot of business we give to that micro team that are our personal clients and our sphere of influence, but now he's got a show partner on top of it,
Yeah.
and then we use either an assistant, which our assistant is actually transitioning out into management, and we're going to go to a VA assistant for contracts and some things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all brand new in our world as well. Have you guys done any empire builder type stuff yet up there? Has anybody?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Rachel and I kind of flirted with that idea at the end of one of the years, and then it just that's right when the rates went nuts, and we didn't the business wasn't big enough to really support that model for us on
Right.
our team.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but at the moment, Mike actually has a showing partner, and we introduced a new concept of a production partner. The difference is really one is more of a hunter than the other, kind of more of an ISA role baked into that as well. He also has an ISA, and then he just hired an assistant. So his micro team is pretty robust at this point.
Good.
But
Good.
they, no empire stage of that yet. And I don't know if that's something he's planning to do in the future or not.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mike loves to hunt still and loves to
Yes,
to convert. So,
he is.
and
He loves being an operator. That's for sure.
that's definitely sharpened his skill set as well while he's doing all that. So,
Hmm.
I love it. All right, so we've got kind of the idea of a showing partner. Now, the question would become, when is a solo agent or a or a person on a team, at what levels should they start looking at how do we leverage out to a show partner, right?
Hmm.
Is that is that all based on units, do you think? Is that all based on how much time is coming away? Is it based on money? Is it based on none of that? Is it based on all of that? What
I
what
think
what do you
it's
see on your side?
for me when I took on my partner, it was because of the number of units I did, honestly.
Okay.
And in our market, the number of units for the amount of GCI that comes in is pretty healthy. So um, I could afford to hire her and have and swing that salary. And it was a matter of trying to buy back some time so that I could then go produce more, like do those higher dollar producing activities. And mine, as I mentioned, I did 27, and that's kind of probably on a little bit on the lower end. Like if you're in the
For most
30 to
people,
30,
yeah.
yeah, if you're in the 30 to 35 range of units per year, that would be pretty healthy time to start looking for that leverage. But I think it's really individual to a person too, like
Right.
you can also kind of go in stages of leverage. So if your team can support, um, on our team, my team, they support the salary for the first 90 days of a partner to try, they help with that salary to try and make sure it's a good fit, make sure that the onboarding is smooth and successful. They're investing in that partner, and then the agent takes on the full responsibility of that salary. So that was it's a good way to onboard for a new agent trying to start that leverage. But I would imagine if you're just an agent, or maybe even a solo agent, and you're trying to wonder when it's going to break even or be a good fit to do that investment, I'd say probably like 30 to 35 transactions makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you could look at the GCI too and kind of look at like your P&L and see when it makes sense. But at the end of the day, the time spent, you have to quantify that as well, right? Because
Right.
if you're spending X number of hours in the car doing showings, and you could not be doing that, instead be nurturing relationships and having more consultation appointments to get clients signed, that you have to factor in that math as well.
I've seen this in many different circumstances. Somebody says, I am going way too hard. So then they get a show partner and they throw everything over and then they just don't do anything. Right.
Mm-mm.
And that just, it never works. It never
No,
works.
you have to take that time you just saved yourself and put it back in your business. You can't
Yeah.
just be like, I get 2 days off or 3 days off now. It's no, you actually have to turn around and reinvest it, or it's not going to pay off.
And again, you don't have to put every inch of that time back in, but you got to put a hefty amount of that time back in
Mhm.
because the idea is now you got to grow past that to and quite honestly, you look at, Eric Hatch talks about this all the time, and I'll steal his stuff here a little bit, but when you grow a team, we talk to team leaders all over the US and we always ask them, how profitable are you? Are you really profitable? And I'm going to tell you, like your guys' team, Jen, definitely focuses on profit and does a really good job there, but most don't. Most don't.
Mhm.
And a lot of teams are low profit, real low profit to no profit. And what Eric has stated many times, and I've agreed with, is if you want to start a team, start a micro team because
Mhm.
it's much more profitable in the end. And there's a lot more of controls in there where as you get a team and it starts growing, it can get out of control, and all of a sudden you have to manage now more than you sell real estate.
Yeah.
With a micro team, a lot of times you both head in the same direction, and it just makes it a lot easier. I think I would tell everybody before you start a team, start a micro team. I think
Yeah.
it's 100% the best thing to do.
And it's really organic because you'll grow your team simply by graduates of your micro team program, right? And then
Yep.
at that point, they've been trained in your processes so well that the amount you have to manage them after the fact is very different than if you
Right.
brought team agents on right off the bat, right? You want them to be indoctrinated into your standard operating procedures, in your way of doing business, so on and so forth. So there is less management involved, to run that team as smoothly as you'd like, and you can continue keeping your mind on production.
Right.
If you have graduates, of course, like if you get your first partner as a lifer, that's wonderful. Then hopefully your business is large enough to
I
support
was lucky.
another partner that then graduates, and you can naturally grow your team that way.
Right. I agree. So we've talked a little bit about the different levels. We've talked about why get a show partner and the advantages. The question I would have now is, what does a show partner do? And what do we feel like they leverage off, or what should they be leveraging off of that lead agent?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see on your side? What's the things that you're looking for on your leverage? And I'll talk about mine here in a minute.
Sure. So on our team, brand new partner starts off with showings. I mean, that's probably one of the the easiest things to learn, the most quickly. It just takes a few times of shadowing, and then now you're able to manage taking clients into homes. After that, it becomes managing clients that are signed, sending them homes, curating what you go see, getting them to go out. Sometimes some clients need more prompting than that than others, and that takes learning that point of conversion. So there's I think, what do we say, 6 or 7? I don't remember always. I have to go and think about points of conversion in the life cycle of a client. And so the one conversion point that you hand to a partner right off the bat is getting them converting them to go see homes. And then when they're in the home, that conversion to, do you want to write or not write an offer, right? So the showing partner starts to assume that first. After that, then they can take over the role of connection with other agents sometimes, and kind of starting that conversation when a client is interested. They also will manage database. So they'll manage communications with currently signed clients as well as nurtures in your database. Theoretically, they should also be hunting, right? So they're setting appointments as well. And it depends on how much focus you want them to have, how busy. If they've got, 20 showings in a week, over a certain amount of physical area to do, where they're in their car a lot, they're not going to be able to focus as much time on setting appointments. However, if it's slow, then you want them to be trained on how to convert on the phone, set appointments, things like that. As they kind of get deeper into their partner period, so 6 months to a year, you want to start seeing them driving that conversion cycle of the client more from they're just signed. So you as the lead agent are convert them into being a client, and then the partner takes over from there up until it's time to write the offer. Then as they get almost to the end of their partner stage, they can actually start to write those offers and you oversee it. So by the time they graduate, they're able to do the entire cycle of conversion. They're able to write offers. They're able to negotiate with other agents. The first part really is getting them used to your processes of communications with those clients that are signed, getting them into homes. That's like the most simple part of real estate. And then they accrue more responsibility as they go.
I agree. I agree with all that. Some of the other things that I've seen from showing partners, and some of my showing partners, Bryce has gone through many different stages with me, depending on what it is. At one time, Bryce actually took care of all my emails. So his job was to go in 2, 3 times a day, look through my emails, get rid of the crap, and take the ones that he knew I needed to see and put them in my important box. So all I had to do is go to the important box and maybe look at the 5 emails that day that were important. So again, leveraging my time to make sure I'm using my time, not running through email and playing the game, but using it and focused on the bigger activities, right? Obviously, they're going to write offers and negotiate, and that could be their offers that they're doing. That could also be the team lead offers, where it's like, hey, go ahead and get this contract started for me. It looks like we're going to be putting an offer in, or listing paperwork. Go ahead and get started on my listing paperwork so we can get that done. So just little things like that are leverage points. Now, if they're out running and they're really rocking and rolling, you're probably not going to get that leverage at that point. And you're going to be loving the bank account as that show partner, and you both are killing it, right?
I feel like you'll probably go through a few seasons too, right? If they're in your partnership for 2 to 3 years, you're going to have times where they are like crazy busy out in the field with clients, simply getting them into homes, like in spring and things like that. So you, as the agent, will be managing more of that, negotiating with other agents, writing offers and so forth. But then there's going to be times that are a little slower, like this time of year, where they can be doing a lot more of those activities while you're trying to procure more signed clients. And so there's a give and take through the year. You'll probably go through a few cycles of that. So they get that training, first of all, and then you get the most leverage possible.
I love it. I love it. Anything else that we're missing, you think, on duties? Or, I mean, Here's something else that we probably haven't talked about, but since they are a W-2, it's not, hey, just come and go as you please, like a normal agent, right?
Correct.
You actually probably are going to keep some type of hours in the office,
Hmm.
if there is an
Hmm.
office, or you're going to keep some type of hours with your team lead doing something. And the
Hmm.
idea is that's how you learn. You're out doing that. Now, there are weeks where sometimes your show partner might be working 50, 60 hours. And
Hmm.
so what I always tell team leaders is you need to be paying attention to that. And Bryce has done a really good job of letting me know, hey, I had 60 plus hours last week. I've been running hard, and it's like, let's take a day off here. I'll take a Thursday off. I don't care. Uh,
Hmm.
but people need downtime, and if you just run them and go crazy with them, they're gonna burn out at some point, just like you will. So
Definitely.
we have to protect that showing partner's time because they know I'm supposed to go do this. That's all I know. And sooner or later, it's like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? So I think that's
Yeah,
important to pay attention to.
it is. And we have kind of a phrase that it's a lifestyle, not a clock in, clock out job.
Right.
Even considering that, though, you're right, it is W-2. And so we also look at it like, okay, there are certain times where you're going to do 60-hour work weeks, and then there are certain times where you're not. And so the average of it really comes into play there. But yes, it's really important to look at, like you said, if you've done like a week of crazy busyness, like, yes, we do have to turn around and give some downtime. And then on our team, whether you're an agent or a partner, and even our admin staff, we say, hey, every 90 days, you're going to have to unplug at least
Right.
for a weekend, like a long weekend or something. And we make sure that the partners maintain that schedule as well, because burnout is something that anyone can experience in real estate for sure.
I love it. I love it. Uh, what am I missing? What am I missing, Jen?
I think
Is it?
probably a lot of agents might have questions about the pay structure, right? Like, how
Oh
much do
yes,
you
I
actually
have that
invest
down.
in this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have that down. Uh, yeah, and I think that pay structure, let's talk about pay structure. I had it on the back of my sheet here. So uh, it's going to be different for different teams, but it's also going to be different for different areas, right? I'm in the
Hmm.
Midwest, so our basic cost is less than it's going to be in up in Washington or out in California. So I know you guys pay probably a base that's a little higher than I pay,
Hmm.
and then I don't know how your commission structure works after that, but uh, where do you, without going into too much detail as far as specifics of what we do, originally what I learned was you pay a base of somewhere around 25, 35,000 depending on where you're at. Uh, I don't know, that may have went up over time a little bit, but this has been 6, 7 years ago for me. So, but some type of base, and then for every deal you give to your showing partner, okay? Now, as an empire builder, I'll be honest, I give all my deals. So my Bryce gets paid on every deal, no matter what.
Hmm.
But when you're running your micro team and you don't have an empire builder, you get to pick and choose. So a lot of agents, a lot of team leaders give their buyers over and keep their listings. That's the way I see it happen a lot. I'm still going to go on my listings as the team lead, but now you're officially, you can take all the buyers and you're going to get paid on every buyer.
Hmm.
Uh, and that structure looks something like if you're on a team, team split always comes first, right?
Hmm.
But let's just make it real easy math and say, uh, you've got commission out there, team split comes first. Let's make it easy. It's 50-50. And now the lead agent is getting 50% and the team got their 50%. Out
Hmm.
of that team split now, or out of that agent split, now comes the splits on which you can pay your showing partner. So if it's a deal
Yep.
your showing partner did, and again, these are just basic. I know there's a lot of different team splits out there, but typically somewhere around 20% of what's left would go to the team, to the agent, the showing partner, right? So 20% of the lead agent's commission would go to the showing partner. Is that close to what you do, Jen, or what you guys do up there?
Somewhat. So we have, of course, the base salary, and then for listings is a little different, but for buyers, if
For
the
buyers,
partner
yeah.
showed the home that's going under contract, they get a small split. If they set the appointment for that client originally, they get a small split. So if they did both, they get double. So it's like the same between setting the original appointment as well as showing that home. Now, if they've worked with that client and showed them 25 houses, and it just so happened that the agent went and showed a house on the partner's day off, and then that's the one they're writing on, it's up to the discretion of the agent, of course. Like you busted your butt for these clients, we're still going to share that split. But for the most part, it's usually the partner has to have shown the home that's going under contract to receive that small piece of the split. And then there's an ISA split as well. So that typically
Yes.
is it's not quite as high as 20%, but when you have enough transactions, it builds. So as a partner, I made like almost almost six figures because
Right.
of how much business we did. And my salary was definitely not that high. So
Right.
the mindset, so with as an agent, you might start thinking from the numbers you said, Ed, 20% of your 50% is going to somebody else. Like, I don't know if I can afford that. Yes, you can. If your business is climbing because of this leverage, you have to really
That's
think
exactly
about
right.
this is where you're reinvesting that time. So you build the number of units you're actually doing up. And not only does that partner's pay for themselves with that split, but you're making more money because you're together handling more deals,
Right.
right? So I mean, it's kind of a scary thing to launch off and actually pull that trigger to begin, but once you do, the way the system works, you will be earning more money on average, even paying that 20% away to somebody else simply because they're helping you manage a climbing increase of number of transactions.
So you're going to buy back time
Mm-hmm.
and you should make more money. And that's the number one thing I always tell people. You're going to have a little more time, not a lot. I don't want to say you're going to, take half days every day for the week, but you are
Correct.
going to get
Yeah.
a little more time. You're not going to be running as hard and you're going to make more money in the end, right?
Yeah.
Up front, obviously, you've got to train them. There's a cost to that. Up front, you may not do as many deals with them in the first 90 days, but after 90
It's a
days, you should
curve.
start seeing some stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
curve for sure.
for us, it's that 20%. So again, if we put a base in there, let's say 25 or $30,000 base, and then you 20% of after team split, and to be clear, after all other things. So if this is a lead that has a percentage taken out, like a
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey lead or a home light lead or any of that,
Yeah.
that all comes off the top.
Yep.
That all comes off the top.
I
So
just think
any
of it as like the agent
ISA the
sharing
same
their
way.
commission. Yeah.
Yeah.
The agent's
ISA
sharing their
same way.
commission with a
Yep.
certain amount.
That's exactly right. So whatever the agent's making after all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then that percentage comes off the agent side, which 20% for a deal that the agent or the team brought, and then we actually go up to 50% for their COI. So if
Oh, yeah.
you lead gen and found somebody that was not in our on our deal, if they're not in our network, we haven't been talking to them already, or anything like that. It's truly their find, they converted, they brought it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to close them at 50% on that deal, is what we do.
Yeah.
So, again, after all that. So, it sounds like a lot, but again, for all the time you're going to get bought back, you're going to hopefully build more business. You're going to be able to lead gen more as the team leader and go find more business, or you're going to have a lead sources coming in that's going to help maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and get some more business that way.
I think it's also important to note that every agent can run their partnership how best suits them. So certain agents might really enjoy a piece of the buyer or seller life cycle and transaction more than others. And so the leverage is how you design it. It could
Right.
be basics are handled, or you offload offer writing. Maybe you really just hate the details of putting it into a contract. You like
Right.
talking about it, but you don't like to, so maybe you offload that. But maybe you really like forms and you want to do that, so you can really design it how best suits your workflow and your headspace. So generally people are more efficient in things that they like to do. So if you offload the things you don't like to do with that partner, you're going to be much more efficient and be able to manage more business too.
I agree with that, and I'm going to push back just a little maybe. If you're not offloading the thing that's taking the most time, which is showings, you're
Oh,
probably not
yeah.
you're probably not going to see the ROI there, right? So
I didn't say showings. I was
okay,
talking
I just
about
want to make
contracts.
sure. Yeah. So
No,
so
showings definitely should be off
they
your
have
plate
to
for
be
sure.
showings. They have to be
Yes.
showings. Okay.
It's just
We're on
the
the same page.
time it takes to go out and drive to even one door is just,
Right.
you could be doing so much more
Right.
business producing activities with that time
No doubt.
for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Now, all the extras, yes, you're going to find certain
Yes.
things that make sense, but okay, I didn't want to hear that wrong.
No, no, no. I meant like,
Uh,
if you're more like, I don't want to talk to the client about their offer
right,
strategy pieces. I just want to put it in the contract and get it to the other agent. I want to be on the other agent side, the agent to agent
right,
conversations. You
right,
can be
right.
client to client, versus some agents might be like, no, I want to handle the clients because I want to keep that relationship point of touch. And then you handle talking to those kinds of things. You break down how best suits you.
I
That's all.
believe I've heard Mike say this many a times, and maybe Rachel's the same way with their showing partners. You would know. Did they always do the negotiations? I know Mike did for a long time.
Yes, it's not until almost the end of a partner's maturation that that one piece gets handed off, because that is probably one of the most important pieces in putting a deal together.
Right,
However, if you've got a lifer, like right now, Mike has Anna, who probably will be his partner for a long, long time. She's wonderful
right.
and also pretty high S. She's getting to the point where she can do a lot of those negotiations. She's put together deals for him and things like that because she's reached that mastery level. So that's a very, very high mastery level. A high level of trust has to go into that between partner and agent.
Yeah,
But it is achievable for sure.
yeah. And that's Bryce does all mine as well. Obviously, we don't.
Hmm.
I get involved when he needs help, and that's not very
Hmm.
often, right? So
Right.
that's what you want. Well, good stuff. All right, so we went over pay. We went over the different levels. We put the different duties that we think should be leveraged off. We went over that a couple times. Man, I think that's pretty good. Is there anybody on here that has any questions, thoughts, feedback there? I know I see Jeffrey's on here. Elliot's on here as always, so that's good.
Ed,
Uh,
I just love to learn. I'm
yeah.
curious, you talked a lot about showing partners. Are there other team members who might be on a micro team?
You know what? We can definitely, and that's what we were just talking about. Mike was growing his micro team. I've grown my micro team. Uh, so usually you get that show partner, then you may need an assistant or a VA assistant. A
Hmm.
lot of times, if both the team lead and the show partner's going hard, they don't have anybody writing contracts for them, prepping stuff that's really feels very minimum at the moment. So they need somebody back at the office or a VA type person where they can brain dump real quick and get stuff started so they can keep things moving. That would be probably the next piece of the micro team, is what I would say. And then you can go to another level of the micro team, obviously with somebody who's lead genning, like a private ISA or an inside
Hmm.
salesperson that's lead genning your database all day. And that's what
I
they're
would
doing. They're using.
I would say if you're a solo agent building a micro team, probably the first thing you'd want to put in place is your admin or your admin support, VA, that type of thing,
Right,
and then do a partner, because that
right,
way you have that support. The two of you will have that support, to enable you to not get bogged down in the weeds with just the documents and date, uh, compliance stuff. So I'd say admin for sure, and then you'd want your actual showing partner. And then the assistant, Ed, you were talking about how for a while one of your partners managed your email and things like that. So you can either bake that into the duties of your partner, or you can eventually add an assistant as well.
Right.
I would, depends on what that workload actually is,
Yeah.
and how, if you need more time spent in that, then would take away from tours and sitting inspections and things like that. But admin, partner, potentially assistant, and potentially an ISA. So if your partner's duties include assistant work as well as conversion work, like ISA duties, you can have that in one person for a while, and they can wear multiple hats. And as you get more and more business where the time spent on each of those duties has to deepen, then you can branch off and have multiple people in your micro team managing all of that workload together.
And that's exactly what happened to us. Bryce took over email when he became the partner, and then when we hired the assistant, she took over the email, right? And we started leveraging him off so he could go focus on lead generation and showing and converting, right? So you're exactly right on that. That's exactly what we do as well. I see Jeffrey, do you include, or are you supposed to include any health benefits, retirements, and all that stuff? Here's the thing, it really depends on what you do as a business owner. If that's something you want to include and it pencils out correctly on your budget and your finance, then great. That just becomes even a better job for the showing partner. If it's something that you can't include or don't include, then that's okay too. And that's just something that I think's really up to each individual's business model, what they're wanting to try to do. Maybe you lower the payout and you add some benefits, but ultimately you're paying out what you can pay out, and you got to figure that out a little bit on your own. What happens when a showing partner gets so busy that it makes sense for them to have their own assistant? How do you incentivize them to stay on your team as opposed to them starting their own separate team, maybe in another brokerage? Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I can tell you for us, we've got 3 different people that have micro teams in our company right now. And we should have a 4th one coming if they do what's right. So what happens when they get too busy? Well, your job is to make sure that we can leverage them to the highest paid piece of the business you can. So obviously that assistant leveraged Bryce so he could still go out and sell lots of deals and not have to worry about that. But here's the question when it comes to how do you incentivize them to stay, because now they're going. The real question becomes, are they producing their own deals? I've always said in this business, anybody can hold a real estate license, anybody can be out there running hard, but if you cannot get your own business, then that's where you're going to fail as a real estate agent. And you go out and get your license, they don't teach you how to go get business, they teach you what the governing laws are so you don't get yourself in trouble. Somebody's got to teach you how to go get your business, and you need a coach, you need just systems and tools. And of course, here on the Agent Growth Hub, we have several of those things that we've offered, even how to get business, how to get your COI rolling, how to take care of leads. But if they can't get that business, like I said, a lot of showing partners I know bring in 5-10 deals a year. That's not enough business to be a solo agent and have the comfort of what you have. If you have a showing partner now closing 50, 60, 70 deals a year, then you probably need to change your incentives a little bit if you want to keep them as a showing partner, right? And over time, that's what we've done is with Bryce being the empire builder, we've changed things around a little bit. And now he's got showing partners. He's got one showing partner under him. He'll have another one coming, but that now he makes a little bit off the showing partner as well. So if he's going to train them and he's going to leverage to them, he needs to still make money off of them, right?
I think for the question on when they get so busy, another option would be to add a partner in your micro team. You can roll with more than one partner. I think that you have to have a robust enough business to be able to support that year round. But it can be done. This is really useful for team leaders. For example, like Mike on our team's the only one that's ran with more than one partner at a time, like he's doing right now. And then you basically divvy up your clients. When you sign a new client, you say, okay, this goes to partner A. Partner A is going to run this client the entire way through, and they can cover, of course, if they need to show for each other every once in a while, that sort of thing. So you can split the workload up by having multiple partners. And then as far as retention goes on our team, we have the whole culture and mindset that you can graduate from a partner role. We want you to graduate from a partner role where you can, and like Ed is saying, you've been taught how to run your own business and get your own business. We want your business to get so robust that you need your own partner one day. And then we support you getting it. We help you do that training. They even help onboard with the salary for the first 90 days and that sort of thing. So that's a really good retention tool as well. Of course, you're going to need to have your business robust enough to support those opportunities for these partners when they graduate. But hopefully by then you've built something large enough that you can do that.
Right, right. Jeff, hopefully that answers your question. If you got any more, send them to us. But awesome, awesome. Well, any last minute comments? Anything that we missed that you want to go over? I think we did pretty good. We went through it pretty well today.
It was a small and intimate group today.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, where did everybody go? So hopefully
I don't know.
hopefully people will be back on next week. I'm sure we've got some great stuff coming up. I know that there's some great stuff in the works. So just join us every Thursday. I'll just say 12 p.m. Central because that's the time zone I'm in. But
10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah.
10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. So,
Yes.
but yeah, join us. We'll continue to talk. And then obviously you can connect with any of us offline if there's more questions that you need help with. So we appreciate it. Go out there and have a great day and think about the showing partner model. Thank you,
Bye
Jen.
all.
See you,
Of course.
Elliot.
Thanks, Ed. Bye, guys.